In 2005, I took my first affiliate program from about $120,000 a month to $260,000 in less than 90 days. In 2009, when I won my first Affiliate Manager of the Year award, I took Legacy Learning Systems affiliate program from $150,000 a month to $310,000 a month in about 90 days. In 2012, I helped Tiny Prints grow their affiliate program from $2.6 million a month to more than $6 million a month in, well, you guessed it, about 90 days. And I've done the same thing over and over again for our clients. How did I do it? Well, today I share exactly how in this podcast episode. Welcome to the Affiliate Guy podcast. If you want to grow your income, serve your tribe, and enjoy all the benefits of affiliate marketing and having your own affiliates, you're in the right place. Thanks for joining me today. Let's get started. Okay, before we get started, I want to address a couple of the elephants in the room. All right, first of all, who is this episode for? I'm primarily going to speak to people who have an affiliate program, and it's doing at least $10,000 a month, right? Technically, you can't double zero. So if you're just starting out, while this episode is not specifically for you, the lessons apply. All right, so I want to be clear, the lessons apply. We're talking about doubling, so you have to have something to double, but the lessons, the principles to double still apply if you're starting off. The second elephant in the room, the question is it really possible to double your affiliate program in only 90 days? And yes, to be clear, if you're running a $100 million a month affiliate program, it's not likely you're going to double in 90 days. Maybe this will help you grow by $30 million, which is still phenomenal. But like I said in the intro, I took my first affiliate program with Hometown Quotes and from about $120,000 a month to over $260,000 in a little bit less than 90 days. Technically, I doubled the size every 2 to 3 months for nearly 2 years. 2009 went from 150 to 310 with Legacy Learning Systems. A big reason why I won my first Affiliate Manager of the Year award. Tiny Prints, we went from $2.6 million a month to more than $6 million a month. We've done the same thing over and over again for people like Ray Edwards and Jeff Goins, tons of others. Michael Hyatt years ago had a launch, so it's a little bit different. But in about 6 months of work, we went from $280,000 to more than $1.1 million. So technically it was more than 90 days, but we also almost quadrupled. So the question that we kind of posed, thought it'd be a fun little exercise. If I took over an affiliate program today and I was tasked with doubling it in 90 days, what would I do? Okay, imagine, Matt, that you took over, doesn't matter what size it is. Let's just say it's doing $100,000 a month, $50,000 a month, $200,000 a month, anything reasonable. Again, I'm not going to double your $100 million a month affiliate program in, I don't even know if anybody's doing those kind of numbers. I'm not going to double that in 90 days. It's just unrealistic. But anything, say, sub $1 million. And again, with Tiny Prints, we went from 2.6 to 6 in literally less than 90 days because I took that program over like 6 days into a month. So I've done it on a big program. That's a huge program. We ended up doing over $300 million a year with that program when I left. It's less likely that I'm going to do that. There were some things that went right for us, and we'll talk about that today. So again, if I were doing that, if that were my challenge, what would I do? Well, to be clear, I would first start 2 weeks before and study the heck out of things. Now that's kind of cheating, but I'm assuming you don't have to do that because you should already know your metrics. If you have an affiliate program that's doing even $10,000 a month, you should know the things that I would have to take a couple of weeks to study. You should know your affiliates. You should know who's down year over year. So what am I looking for in there? Right? This is kind of that pre-work. Who are my top affiliates? I want to know that. Who are my affiliates who are down this year versus last year? Or if you're listening to this, 3 weeks into the year, who are my affiliates that were down in the second half of last year versus the first half, or last year versus the year before, whatever? Who are my inactive affiliates? What are my highest performing links? What's my best performing copy and creative? What's my lowest performing copy and creative? What are my lowest performing links? What are my best performing landing pages? And what are my worst performing? Are we running any tests? So what are the results of those tests? Are there any tests that we can just call and say, okay, B is the winner and let's run more traffic to that? If not, we need to start testing. What's my average order size? Like the data allows you to execute on the plan. That allows you to execute on the plan. If I don't know who my top affiliates are, well, some of the stuff I'm going to share in a little bit, how can you even do anything with that? You don't know who your top affiliates are. So I'm going to spend at least, again, if I'm taking over from scratch and you say, okay, starting 2 weeks from now, you have 90 days. I'm going to spend those 2 weeks studying. Was it Abraham Lincoln said, and I might butcher the quote, but said, if I had 5 hours to cut down a tree, I'd spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. This is the sharpening of the axe. And so now we get into the foundational work. If I'm going to double, we've got to do some of the foundational work. So I'm going to run those numbers. I want to know those statistics. And then I want to look at things like, hey, what can we do to increase conversions and average order size? This is where I'm going to start, the foundational stuff. What can I do to increase conversions, average order size, and repeat purchases? So let's just say, for example, we'll go round numbers here. You have 200 buyers in a month, and they spend exactly $1,000. Like, nice round numbers, because if I try to do anything other than that, I'm not going to be able to figure the math out in my head here. And they don't buy anything else within 90 days typically. So again, round numbers, but that's $200,000. 200 buyers, $1,000, they don't buy anything else. If you improve conversions, even just a tiny amount to get to, say, 210 buyers, you've already increased sales by 5% from 200 to 210. Let's say you increase the average order size a small amount, another 5% to $1,050. First of all, that's something to get affiliates excited about. That's something where you can say to your affiliates, we have increased our average order size by 50%. We have improved our conversions by 5%. That gets affiliates excited, which in and of itself will increase sales. But that alone, a 5% increase in conversions and a 5% increase in average order size actually increases sales almost 11%. It's more than just 5 plus 5 because they compound. So that's something that gets them excited. That alone can bump sales a few more percent. So these things start stacking. So then if you take them from spending nothing else, remember we said you had 200 buyers, $1,000, and they spent nothing else. If you get 10% of them, 10% to even just spend another $200, let's say you do a $100 a month membership in that last 2 months worth during the 90 days. So you get 10% who after 30 days buy a $100 a month membership. So they spent another $200. That's 4% right there. And maybe more, to be clear, but let's just go with that. That adds on to that almost 11%. And now it's actually really like 16% because it's starting to add up. And so these are more opportunities to earn more money, which boosts affiliate sales. So this pre-work foundational stuff is to optimize everything. I want you to focus on conversions, average order size, and increasing lifetime value. How do we get 10% to spend a little bit more during that 90 days? So already we're at roughly 15 to 17%, possibly as high as 20%. I went kind of low with those numbers. You could increase your conversions 7% and increase the average order size by 8% and increase the number who buy by 12%. All of a sudden now, literally, we're talking like 30, 35% right there. But I went low. Let's just go with a nice round number, 15%. Probably going to be significantly higher, but we'll go with that. So that's that foundational work. You can't not do that. Now, what about the affiliates themselves? Let's talk about strategies to double our affiliate program with our affiliates themselves. Here's the thing. No one thing I'm going to say is going to add up to double. I mean, even all those things, if you increase your conversions by 25%, which is amazing, and your average order size by 25%, and the amount they spend in the next 90 days by 25%, that doesn't even add up to 100%, even when you factor in the compounding. That only gets you to, I think, 85%. So you still got to do more. Nothing I'm going to say in and of itself adds up to 100% growth. We're going to get to 100%, 5, 10, 15, 20% at a time. So there's not just one thing. The other thing I want to make clear, it's work. You have to actually execute the plan here. I will give you the plan. I will tell you what I would do and what we have done, but you actually have to execute on it. If you only do half the things, you're not going to double. You might grow by 50%. If you're satisfied with that, awesome. That's awesome. But you're listening to an episode about doubling. And so I'm assuming you actually want to do all of these, or at least the overwhelming majority of these, right? All right. The first thing you got to do is you got to re-energize your down affiliates. This is why I talked about, I want to know who's down. They're down. If I'm midway through the year, I want to know who's down compared to this time last year. If at the beginning of the year, I want to know who was down all of last year. Now, you should be following this every month, but let's just say you haven't. This is an opportunity right here. These are affiliates who were once powerhouses, but now they aren't. And I want you to lock in on these. This is the biggest area for growth because 80% of the work has already been done. You already have a relationship. You've already done a lot of the other things that I'm going to talk about with this group, but they have fallen off a little bit. They're not inactive. That's a different one. We'll talk about them separately. They haven't gone from 100 sales a month to 0 sales a month. That's an inactive affiliate. But they've gone from 100 sales a month to 70 sales a month. Right here, you can pick up 10 to 20%. The average affiliate that's down is down by 30%. And you get half of them to get back to where they were. That's a 15% growth. 30%, you're going to pick up 30 and you're going to get half of them, roughly. You're going to grow. Typically, we see if you focus on this, you can get better results than that. We typically see somewhere between 10 and 20% growth in the total affiliate program right there. And again, this compounds with your slightly better conversions, your slightly better average order size, and your slightly better long-term value. So we want to reach out to these affiliates and incentivize them to get back to where they were. We show them that they've done it before. How can I help you to get back to where you were? And one of the ways that we incentivize them is by, they were doing 100 sales a month. So as I'm recording this in the summer of 2023. So I'm recording it midway through the third quarter. And let's just say that I'm running the numbers for Q2 and I'm seeing that they're down. Let's say last Q2, they made 200 sales in the quarter. In this quarter, they made 130 this past Q2. When I look at Q1, they were only down 10% year over year. So it's been a slide. They're promoting a little bit less and less and less. What I'm going to do is say, hey, I want to reach out to them and say, let's say last Q3, the quarter we're in, let's say it's the beginning of the quarter, they did 200 sales as well. All these are round numbers, right? I want to tell them, hey, last year you did 200 sales in Q3. And let's just say it's our $1,000 product. So again, for round numbers, that's $200,000 in sales. If you hit 200 sales this quarter, here's what I'm going to do for you. Now, what you have to say is you have to go look at this and go, okay, they're on pace to get, let's say they're down 40%. They're on pace to get 120 sales. What am I willing to pay for an additional 80 sales at $1,000 a piece? Am I willing to say I will give you a $25,000 bonus? Maybe, and let me explain this. $80,000 in additional sales. You're going to pay them, let's just say you have a 40% commission. So if I'm doing my math right, $32,000. So you're going to pay them $32,000. Would you be willing to pay them $57,000 for an extra $80,000 in sales? It's pure profit. But $25,000 is a freaking lot of money. Now, here's the other thing about the math on that. That's assuming they hit 200 sales exactly. Most of the time, what happens when people shoot for a higher number, they either blow through it and they end up with 230. So really, you got 110 extra sales for only 25,000, or they fall just short and they land at 184. You got an extra 64 sales and you paid nothing extra for them. So we're going to reach out to those down affiliates and we're going to give them that kind of message. You're going to find a number that is so ridiculously appealing. If they had 20 sales, let's say they're on pace for 10. Okay, what's 10 sales worth? Again, would you be willing to pay $2,500 for 10 sales? That's actually rather appealing. If all you do is beat your sales from last year by one, we're going to give you $2,500, $10,000, $25,000. If we're talking a big affiliate, 500 sales, that's what they had last year and they're on pace for 300 this year. Okay, what am I willing to pay for 200 sales? Could I literally, as crazy as this sounds, could I offer them $75,000 to hit their number from last year? Again, that's assuming they land exactly on the 501, technically, I guess it'd be 201, sales. They're probably not going to do that. That's an incentive, though, that really gets their eyes open. That's how we get them more active. All right, the second thing I'm going to do, after we focus on those down affiliates, I'm going to focus on them for a few days. I want to get 10 to 20% more from my top 10%. I'm going to really focus in on relationships and incentivizing them. I'm literally going to start with my number one affiliate and I'm going to work my way down. Now, you might have some overlap. Your number 3 affiliate might also be somebody who's down. So I'm going in a hierarchical fashion here. I'm going to focus on that first. But how do I get just a little bit extra? How do I get them to do a specific promo in this period? So I want to set up private calls with all these people in that second week. And I want to work on promo plans with them. I want to find like what's going to work for your audience. And we'll talk a little bit more about this later, but is it a webinar or some sort of event that we can do? What are some individual targets and goals and bonuses that we could offer them? You can do the same strategy here. They've been kind of clocking along every quarter. They're pretty consistently at 200 sales. So we say, hey, you get to 250, we're going to give you a significant bonus. And here's the thing, doubling in 90 days, if you don't double profit too, you might go, well, yeah, in that example there, 50 sales, let's say I'm already paying a 50% commission and it's $1,000 product. So I'm already going to pay $25,000. If I gave them a $25,000 bonus, I don't make any money. Okay, again, first of all, they're not going to land on exactly 250 sales more than likely. They're going to end up at 272, 268, or 237. In which case you're paying none or, on those either way. You get the idea there, right? Okay. They're not going to land on that number exactly. Secondly, this is about a long-term play because I'm going to pay them $25,000 to hit 250 this month. If they see what that did, and then maybe they die down a little bit, but now their new norm is 225, I get 25 extra sales every single month. That's how that works. I'm willing to break even or only make a few bucks or even possibly lose a few bucks for one stinking month or one stinking quarter to get them to stay there long term. So we want to get 20% more from our top 10%. Maybe depending upon how big the program is, with Tiny Prince, it was more like our top 2%. I focused more on the top 2% because I was like 75 people. It was a lot of people. Most programs maybe have 400 affiliates. Well, you're talking your top 30 to 40. You can do that. And again, how we're going to do that? Private calls, setting up promo plans, giving them individual targets and goals and individual bonuses. All right, the next thing I want to focus on, kind of that next week in there, is activating inactive affiliates. They are already signed up. So this is the low-hanging fruit. And to be clear, I mean they have either never been active, so these are different from our down affiliates earlier. They have never been active, or they haven't been active for at least like a year. Maybe they did 10 sales in 2019, and then they haven't had any sales since then. We have an entire episode on activating inactive affiliates that I'll link to in the show notes. I'm not going to go into that here. But usually you can pick up another 5, 10% here. So the first one we talked about, you picked up about 10 to 20%. Well, the foundational stuff was, 15, possibly 20%. We're going to pick up 10 to 20% re-energizing down affiliates. We're going to pick up another 10%, focusing on that top 10%. And focusing on inactives, we're usually going to pick up 5 to 10%. So I mentioned that we're doing this in a hierarchical, however you say that word, fashion here. I'm doing it through a combination of what's going to have the most impact, but also what's the easiest to do. So we're already well over 50% probably when you start compounding these things. I would say we're right at 50%. How about that? The next few things, while they do have big impacts, they're also a little bit harder to do. They're not something you can just do in 3 days with almost no planning. So the next one is to train your customers. How do we turn our customers? Assuming you have some. If you don't, well, this one goes out the window, but start doing this from day one with your new customers. How do we turn our customers into evangelists? Typically, depending upon how big your program is and how many customers you have, we've seen 10 to 20% growth doing this. And one of the things we want to do, this works better, obviously, in internet marketing, in marketing type business, entrepreneurial type audiences than non, but it still works, even in the most non-marketing niches on earth, because everybody is a marketer today. Everybody has Facebook friends. Everybody has access to be able to get your affiliate offer in front of 50 or more people at the drop of a hat. And that more importantly, like most people, you think, who are your Facebook friends? Most people, let's take the parenting niche, for example. If you're in the parenting niche, most people that are going to be customers of yours, the majority of their friends are also parents. They have access to a marketing list called their Facebook profile, So let's host a webinar and teach them how to promote. And the key here is how to pay for their blank. Okay, how to pay for their membership. Hey, refer 3 other people and your membership is free. We don't have to talk about affiliate commissions. In fact, we want to avoid words like affiliates unless your customers know what that means. So how do you pay for your membership? Or how do you pay for, hey, you bought this course, it was $1,000. Refer 3 people and we'll give you $1,000. You've paid for your course. If you really want to get creative, do a 50% commission, so to speak, but make it in store credit. That's doable. Now, again, it depends on what you're selling. If you're selling something where your margins are only 20%, don't do that. You might have to say, refer 5, or every $100 in sales that the people you refer make, you get $20 in store credit. I don't know. However, just work out the math. That's how you do that. But host a training, some sort of a webinar, and teach them how to promote, teach them how to share on their Facebook profile. Teach them if they have a list, how to mail their list. So again, on this one, you can get about 10 to 20% growth if you turn your customers into evangelists. The next way to double your affiliate program in only 90 days, and I'm typically going to focus on this. If I were doing it my way, I would actually start this process on day 1 because it would take me 20 minutes to start the process, and you'll see what I'm saying. And then the people who are doing the work can do it while I'm doing all these other things, which is I want to refresh all of our creatives. I want brand new social media graphic, brand new swipe copy, just a full update on everything. Because this is usually an easy way to get a 5 to 10% bump. This 5 to 10% bump is short-lived. But what I mean is this is not going to continue to grow in and of itself. We're going to get about let's say 5 to 10% bump in this 90 days, and it's going to level off or possibly even decline afterward. But it gets us a little bit of a bump. It's exactly what it sounds like. Hey guys, we have new swipe copy. We have a new graphics. And there's a little bit of excitement, so people promote a little bit more. So like I said, I'm going to probably on day 1 come in and say, hey, graphics team, hey, copy team. If you don't have that team, then you postpone this. I'll say, guys, I need to work on these things. I need you working on these things. I need them ready in 30 days. So that then about the 30-day mark or so, somewhere in week 3, 4, I can release this stuff. If you don't have a team to do those things, you got to do them yourself, then yeah, I would wait till week 3, week 4, and then work on these. And I would do them one at a time. I would release new graphics, and then a couple days later, new swipe copy, a couple days later, new banners, a couple days later, if you want a new landing pages, whatever. I'm going to release in little phases here. So there's continual excitement for like a week or so. The next thing I want to do to boost our sales on that path to doubling, again, we're probably somewhere in the vicinity of 75% now. I want to train our affiliates. I want to get them energized. Now, in the next episode, I'm going to dive deeper into this. So make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss that. The next episode is literally all about how to motivate your affiliates to sell. And I'm going to share 7 proven strategies that I've used time and time again to motivate affiliates to make more sales. And one of them is all about training your affiliates. So make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss that one. Come back and listen to that. I'll dive more into training your affiliates. But training your affiliates, just like training your customers, I usually get better results from that. Typically, we can get an extra 15 to 20% in sales by hosting a training. Now, the cool thing about this training is it's not short-lived. This training lasts. The things they learn, they will be applying months and months from now. So this training has some longevity to it. So we'll talk about that in the next episode, but remember that one. So now we're getting pretty close to that 100% mark. Next one I want to do some sort of a massive contest, a launch, a summit, a challenge, some sort of a big contest, some sort of big push around day 75 or 80. And we're going to start building up to this around day 45 to 60. Now, a launch or a summit or a challenge, a webinar, event type thing, that doesn't necessarily work for every single program. So you do a big contest where like for 10 days only or 1 week only, there's some sort of a big push utilizing a leaderboard and goals and things like that where there's a flurry of activity in a very short period of time. This isn't just about hitting the numbers and getting to double in 90 days. Again, we want that echo, whether it's a launch, a summit, a challenge, just some sort of a big contest, whether it's, anything. It could be just a big live event or a big webinar, a big 4-day thing. Doesn't matter. There will be an echo from that lasts for months and months. So periodically, we want to do these event-based things. And so, again, if we launch a summit, something like that doesn't make sense. Just run a big challenge where for this week only, there are these incentives. And you can tie those into different levels and do the things you would do in a launch or a summit where, you do drawings like, hey, make a sale today and you're entered into a drawing. You can still build that buzz, even if you're a purely evergreen program. But if possible, tie it into some sort of a event-based thing. It could be just a sale, a site-wide sale, 20% off this week only. And you're going to do bonuses around it. It could be specifically around certain products. These products only are discounted. These products only, you're getting 50% increase in commissions. These products only, if you make 10 sales of this product, you make a $5,000 bonus or whatever it might be. Now, notice that so far I haven't really talked about bringing on new affiliates. That's not been a big part of it. We're probably close to double, if not at double, if you do everything like I suggested. But recruiting new affiliates should always be 5 to 10% of your day, if not more. So I will be doing that. And I'm talking, when I say 5 to 10%, this is when I was running Tiny Prints. We developed that into a $6 million program. That was initially a $6 million a month program. We turned that into over $300 million a year affiliate program 3 years later. I still invested 5 to 10% of my day, most days, into recruiting affiliates. And I had literally over 100,000 affiliates to manage. Okay, so it's a small percentage the bigger your program gets. If you only got 30 affiliates, it should be half your day. So I'm going to be doing that. You must always be recruiting. But if I had only 90 days to double, here's where I would focus. This is the most bang for my buck. Here's where I'd focus in terms of targeting new affiliates. The first thing I would work on, how can I find 2 key reciprocal partners? 2 key reciprocal partners. These are people that we're going to promote them and they're going to promote us. They need to be one of the top 2 or 3 affiliates for our top competitors. So who are our top 4 or 5 competitors? Who are their top 2 or 3 affiliates? So this is a list of like 12 people. And I'm going to focus on them. Because I know if we've got a good enough list swap going and we're going to promote them, they're going to promote us, I can get them to promote inside of those 90 days. So I'm only going to try to get 2 of them though. One of those people, again, depending upon how big your affiliate program is, I'm going to just, for this example, I'm going to say you're doing $100,000 a month. If I just get 2 of them who each do, say, $25,000, that's $50,000. That's, what's the math on that? A little bit less than 20% increase over the course of that quarter. $100,000 a month, $300,000. If I add $50,000 in this quarter, that's pretty solid. So I just want to get 2 of those in these 90 days. Again, I don't want everything to be about this 90-day stretch here. But for this case, that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to continue to focus on that long term. The second group I'm going to focus on is full-time affiliate marketers who typically finish just outside the top 10 on affiliate lists. These are people, they're full-time affiliate marketers, so they don't have their own platform. They're not usually looking for a reciprocal. And if they're finishing 11th to 15th place, 11th to 20th place, they have enough firepower to move the needle. I'll give you an example. We just finished in like 14th place in a launch. I mean, we did close to $10,000 in sales. We didn't go all out. It wasn't a great finish for us. We've obviously finished much better. But if you go get somebody like us, finishing in 14th place, and do $10,000 in a couple of weeks, that moves the needle for most affiliate programs. And so that's what we're looking for here. Go get a handful of full-time affiliate marketers who are kind of in that like 10th to 20th place on the list because they're the easiest to get versus somebody who finished in 4th place. They play hard to get. And then third, I want to go after non-traditional affiliates. I want to start a program for nonprofits or specific industry folks. Like if you got a program that's good for CPAs or attorneys, like start a program just for CPAs. Start a program for photographers or whoever might be a good fit. Like a big part of the growth at Tiny Prints, for example, when we first took over was nonprofits. We really focused in on that one area. I talked about this about 20 episodes ago or so. I told the story of that. we focused on one area. I said, I'm going to dominate nonprofits. I'm not going to worry about photographers, who later we had the Tiny Prints for Photographers program, became a $25 million program in and of itself. It was a huge part of the long-term growth. But at first, I didn't focus on photographers. We would take them if they came to us, but I didn't worry about them. We said, we're going to go get nonprofits. Before that, it was, we're going to go get mommy bloggers. And we're going to dominate them. And I know they hate that term. I'm just saying that's what we said back then, because this was 12 years ago. We're going to dominate the mommy blogger market. We're going to dominate the nonprofit market. We're going to dominate the photographer market. And actually, within the photographer market, at first we said, we want to dominate wedding photographers. Then we're going to go after newborn photographers. Then we're going to go after general photographers for things like graduation cards and birthdays and things like that. So again, if I'm going to focus in this 90-day period to double, 2 key reciprocal promos, full-time affiliate marketers just outside the top 10, and those non-traditional affiliates. We're just pick one, whatever niche you're in. Okay, you're in the gardening niche. So in the gardening niche, I want to go focus on landscape design folks. Like I just want to get them on board. If you teach finance, cool, then I'm going to go after just faith-based leaders for now to get them into I don't know, whatever it is. I'm going to focus on that for the short term and dominate that market. So again, if you want more details, ideas on finding affiliates, go grab my report, Your First 100 Affiliates, mattmcwilliams.com/FIRST100. That is the place to grab that report. I'll also link to that in the show notes. So there you have it. How I would double an affiliate program in only 90 days. For most programs, there truly isn't one thing you can do. These things add up very quickly, though. If you do everything I said and you execute flawlessly, yeah, you could triple. Most of you, you're going to probably end up somewhere around that double range. So I hope this helps you at least get some ideas on how you can grow. Maybe your goal isn't to double in 90 days. Maybe your goal is to have consistent 30% growth every single quarter for the next 10 years. That's great. Still do these things. You just might do them in a little bit different order, and you might do them a little bit less aggressively in just a short period of time. So I'd love to hear your biggest takeaway. If you're running an affiliate program, you're an affiliate manager, you run an agency, whatever it is, shoot me a text at 260-217-4619. I would love to know your biggest takeaway. Like I mentioned, all of the links are in the show notes. We've got the podcast episode on how to turn your inactive affiliates into your best partners. You got the free report, Your First 100 Affiliates. We've got the how to turn inactive affiliates into your best partners. Got the free report, Your First 100 Affiliates. Probably a few other things I'll add there. I'm not even sure what I'm going to add there. But things we talked about in this episode. And make sure that you hit, as I mentioned earlier, that you hit subscribe, because in the next episode, we're going to be talking about how to motivate your affiliates to sell more. Affiliate motivation, like one of the most common topics. There's no shortage of information on affiliate motivation. But here's the thing. Most of it is either based on theory or generalities. All right. And there's a lot of stuff out there where you read it and it makes sense. It really doesn't actually move the needle, though. I've tested all this stuff. I've run more than 50 affiliate programs, more than a dozen niches, every niche you can imagine, all different sizes, like startups to $1 million a month to $300 million a year of programs. And what I'm going to share with you in the next episode are 7 strategies that have worked over and over again in every single niche, product type, program size. I've documented what actually works for motivating affiliates to sell more. And that is what we are talking about in the next episode. So make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss it. I'll see you then. Thank you so much for listening today. Remember to check out all of our deep dives into affiliate marketing at theaffiliateguy.tv. And if you have a question, ask it at asktheaffiliateguy.com. Who knows? Maybe you even be featured on an upcoming episode. And lastly, if you haven't yet, make sure to leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this episode. See you soon.